If you just got IRS Form 9297, you're on the clock. And here's the truth. This form isn't just a letter, it's a timer counting down to enforcement. If you miss the deadline, the IRS could move towards enforcement like bank levies or wage garnishments to collect the past due debt. Let me explain why this is critical, what the IRS really wants, and how to respond. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what Form 9297 means, why you got it, and the 3 steps you must take in order to not lose control of the situation. My name is Brad Paladini. I've been a tax attorney for over a decade, and during that time, I've represented over 1,000 clients with tax debt against the IRS. So what is Form 9297? It's the IRS's summary of taxpayer contact. It's issued by an IRS revenue officer whose sole job is to collect the debt that you owe as quickly as possible. So the 9297 is essentially a to-do list. It says, here's what we need, here's the deadline, and if you don't give it to us, we're going to take enforcement action. It's not optional to respond. It is required if you want to avoid enforcement action. This form, Form 9297, is one of the most common triggers for serious enforcement action, but if you understand it, you can flip the script in your favor. So why does the IRS send this form? It means your case was assigned to an IRS revenue officer. Tax debt cases are handled by 2 different units at the IRS. One is ACS, Automated Collections, and the other is in the field. The field cases are handled by revenue officers. Typically, revenue officers handle payroll tax debt cases and cases where people owe significant amounts of money. That exact number has changed over the years. Typically, it's at least over $250,000, although we do have cases where people owe less than that and a revenue officer is assigned. So the revenue officer sends this 9297 because you're missing tax returns, you owe tax debt, or both, and it's going to provide a list of information and documents that they require. It's typically going to be bank statements, pay stubs. If you have a business, a balance sheet, profit and loss. It might also ask for a bank signature card or copies of canceled checks. What the IRS is trying to do is make a determination of your ability to pay. They want to see how much money they can get from you and what the best avenue for them to get that money quickly. So what happens if you ignore it? If you ignore that letter, your case is already in the field. It's already assigned to an IRS revenue officer, and they are specially trained to go after your assets. So if you ignore the 9297, they may issue a bank levy, which basically takes all of the money in your bank account up to the tax debt, or they can issue a wage garnishment. If you are a business owner, they could actually send a letter to anyone you've ever done business with and ask them to send the money directly to the IRS rather than to the business. They will typically only do this if you ignore them. So the most important thing is to respond. So here's the playbook on how to respond. Don't wait until the deadline to start getting on the information. It is a laundry list of documents that is needed, and it will take some time. So as soon as you get the letter, you should acknowledge that you received it. You can call the revenue officer, let them know that you are working on gathering the information. Gather what they asked for. You don't want to volunteer extra information outside of the 9297, but you want to be responsive to their request. So if they ask for 6 months of bank statements, provide 6 months of bank statements. Don't provide 3 months of bank statements, and don't provide 12 months of bank statements unless there's a really good reason why. If you can't meet the deadline, call the revenue officer and ask for an extension. Most revenue officers are okay to work with, and they are reasonable people. They understand that you might be running a business or have a family, or working a lot, and may need extra time. You can always send what you have so far as a token of good faith that, hey, I am working on this. Here are the first 5 things that you asked for. Just give me another couple weeks to get items 6 through 10. Now, there are tax situations where you can DIY it, you can do it yourself, And there are tax situations where you should hire help. In my opinion, if you have a revenue officer assigned to your case and they're issuing a 9297, you should hire someone who knows what they're doing. The stakes are really high. When your case is with ACS, it's basically a call center. There's no one really specifically working your case. It's a computer database spitting out notices. It's possible that you could go months after receiving a letter without actually getting a wage garnishment or a bank levy. That's not the case when it's assigned to the revenue officer. I've worked with some revenue officers where if they say you have an August 25th deadline, they're waiting until 5:01 p.m. on August 25th and issuing a bank levy. They're really on the ball. And if you are not responsive to their request, you're going to make a bad situation worse. So while there are some situations where taxpayers can handle it themselves, I don't think having a 9297 for a revenue officer is one of those situations. So look, at the end of the day, IRS Form 9297 isn't the end of the world, but it is important. It's very important that you respond on time and that you know what you're doing. If you play it right, you could get on a payment plan that is affordable to you. You could even get on currently non-collectible status and not even have to pay the IRS anything. Also possible to do an offer in compromise where you just settle the debt for less than what's owed. But to do any of those things, you have to meet the deadlines in the IRS notices, and you have to stay in communication with the revenue officer. If you need a tax attorney for your situation, you can book a discovery call in the link below. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Really helps us out.